Hey,
and the Facebook
how's it going?
people and the YouTube people. All right, we are live everywhere. It's all yours.
Oh, hello everybody. Welcome. Good evening or good morning. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it's always day somewhere. Welcome to the Berkeley Poetry Slam. My name's Javi. I'll be your host tonight. My pronouns are they, them, and idiot. I would like to welcome you to a slam. If you've never been to a slam, well, congratulations. You're in a place where we take art and we judge it numerically and send money to people who do it well enough. If this was a TikTok, all of those words would have popped up when I pointed. Just imagine it in your mind. For those of you who have come to a slam before, let me do a quick rundown of the rules. Audience at home, usually I would tell you to be quiet, but we can't hear you, but we can feel those vibes. So make sure you're following us on our YouTube, Bay Poets Unite, on Facebook, Berkeley Slam, Twitter, Berkeley Slam, Instagram, Berkeley Slam. Whoa, what branding? Everything's the same? Amazing. For our poets, each poet going up tonight, other than our amazing feature, will have 3 minutes and 10 seconds to say whatever they want, as long as it's theirs and they don't use any props or other things other than their hands and their bodies and their words and their enunciation. And then that's it. After 3 minutes and 10 seconds, they get deducted points. At 4 minutes, they get muted. First of all, amazing breath control. I'm glad you can talk for 4 minutes straight, but unfortunately, it's the chat. For our judges, they're going to be judging each poem from a scale of 0.0 or 0.0, whichever one is the lowest, to 10.0. 0.0 means it sucked, it was the worst, it wasn't even a poem, you just took a dump in my bed, and then you looked me straight in the eyes as you walked out. I don't even remember how you got the keys to my house to do that, but it sucked. 10.0 is someone just took a dump in your bed, but then this person came in, cleaned it up, gave you a kiss on your forehead. All of a sudden, you love your father again. I don't know. Everything's solved. So, needless to say, not a lot of 10s. At least I've never felt a 10 in my life. And not a lot of zeros. Just stay consistent. You know, give poets in the beginning similar scores to the end, unless they are better. I don't know. That's your job, not mine. Okay, everyone, let's take a deep breath. Amazing, great. Before we start off the show, I'd like to thank our amazing patrons. That's right. The Berkeley Slam and other shows in the Bay Area have a Patreon, patreon.com/richoakevents. If you really like what's going on and you want to support, your local artists, help us keep this space, everything that we get, we give back to our artists and to our community. You can go to Rich Oak Events at patreon.com. Special shout out to Renee Edmonds, Emily Chow, and Calla Lilly for being regulars, to Jessica Kozasik for sponsoring one of our weekly workshops. That's right, workshop? Yeah. Every Wednesday before the show at 7, you can come on to Zoom and learn to write. I mean, not learn to write. Everyone knows how to write really in their hearts. But learn to write better or enough to, come onto the slam yourself. You can always do it. And special thank you to Alice Grimm for pledging $100 a month in the support of our venue, the Alan Buford Center. Okay, amazing, great. We have a great slam coming tonight, but before that starts, I usually would say there is sacrifice to get us started, but tonight it's gonna be a little special because we're gonna slam right into it with our amazing feature. Okay, if y'all didn't know, you're gonna know now because our feature is the amazing Cassandra Myers.
I'm gonna text the money right now.
Cassandra Myers is a queer, trans, crippled, mad, South Asian Italian poet performer from Toronto, Ontario. A Master's of Social Work candidate at York University, Cassandra is also a crisis intervention counselor and a youth worker specializing in care for sexual violence survivors. Cassandra has performed poetry across the US and Canada, a Pink Door Fellow. Her work can be found in Arc Poetry Magazine and elsewhere. You can find her at myers.cass, myers.cass, on Instagram and Twitter. Without further ado, let me welcome our amazing features for tonight, Cassandra Myer.
Hello, From near and from far, I'm so stoked to be with you all from the Dish with One Spoon territory to Tkoronto, traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Huron, the Wendat, and the Petun nations, who are welcoming folks to this space in honor of what they take from the bowl, the dish with one spoon, they will give back and replenish. Like folks said, I am all of those things. Also a social work abolitionist, and mostly I'm here just pretending like I'm writing a manuscript for 3 years. So the poems I'm reading tonight are poems from that invisible manuscript that I have to keep changing the year in the bio of like the release date of whenever that's supposed to be coming out. So anyways, this is, I guess, some of those things. First poem I'm going to be starting with is a specific poem about a art piece I saw online. I'm going to link it in the chat right now for folks. If people are interested, they can look it up themselves. Essentially, it's a map of India based on its textiles. So this poem is called "The Author Considers Origin by Map of India Colored by Its Textiles." With the map, I've never felt more lost. So question marks to the capitals, dartboard of needles. I kiss looms for luck and ask, where? I aim for something familiar, but no one dressed me in the places I've only heard about in grayscale. I only know a city, not a region. I know neither by their feel on my skin. Kolkata, East India, West Bengal, Jamdani, 1 year for a full sari, a Mughal muslin prize, East Indian Company competitor, a name to blame for the distance between me and a closet full of morning dew, flowing water, woven wind, all names for the pattern I should know with my eyes closed. I should be able to run my fingers over the map just once and point there. Cool. Okay, so jumping right in, this one's about mommy problems. Shout outs to everyone talks about daddy issues, but I'm out here having some hardcore mommy issues. So this poem is called Elegy for Narcissists. It's based on Dinesh Smith's poem, I Am Waiting for You to Die So I Can Be Myself. Quick context, Narcissus is a Greek myth where a man thought he was so beautiful that he caught his own reflection in a lake by it, that he actually died there just staring at himself. So this is called Elegy for Narcissus. There is nothing my mother wants from me more than my hands, parting her hair into schoolyards. In the mirror, I watch myself, cooing the pigeon gray from her roots, loving her in past tense. In the mirror, I am still her child, lathering tin-foiled drugstore mahogany, sucking her thumb to sleep. In the mirror, my mother wails as if underwater. The sound is gaping. I smashed her glassy twin and was elbow deep in the lake of her, and still her reflection was unfazed by all the wet on my cheeks. At Zio Eddie's funeral, I allow her to hold me like a newborn foal, arms around my neck. She says, "It's so good to feel your skin." And all my flesh is her own limbs, squeezing abandon from a synapse like perennial nectar from a whimpering bloom. My mother's kingdom is where my spine ends and her shriek begins, sprinting down the cul-de-sac of all my shriveled cilia, thirsty for the absence of riot. Though her ankle chips daily and her blood thins like fallen hairs, I know my mother will die of grief from loving my cells and not their learning to walk. My mother adores her copy and paste, my firstborn outline pooling in her cornea. I cannot exist beyond the soup of her, primordial ooze. Ma batched me down to the birth. Amber too is a sheen I'd hide in from her crunch. A daughter is a ladle to be spooned from and fed brothy on the last of regrets. I am waiting for my mother to die so I can be myself, loving her in a desert. Whew, yeah, well, let's just get that one out of the way, Get real quick to the childhood trauma and attachment issues. But I shout out to everyone who's trying to write about their parents. That's some of the stickiest bits you can touch. I can talk about Homeland all I want, but there's nothing that'll make me weep like watching a Disney movie where like the parental figure dies, and I'm like, too much.
Can we say unpack?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. This next poem is shout outs to my body and all its crumply bent bits. Anyone here who's going through any kind of doctor issues where they're trying to explain themselves and the doctor's like, oh yeah, please tell me more about this thing you've already told 10 other doctors. I am standing with you today, especially for the physiotherapists that think they're gonna solve your life with their new acupuncture technique. I don't need it. My body betrays me most at its corners. If you spell hip backwards, it does not read birth. All of my infants walk like stones falling from a crow's beak. I lick the juice from all the spongy loose. I have legs for this kind of ache, bent in the spidery places. That's why my gods outnumber yours in arms. Half-digit monarchy goats to Himalayas to salt, that pinks their bellies to blood moon. I know my inserthood by the way my skeleton puts on its fur one leg at a time, then scarecrows there in my father's denim. The untouchable is a tired string of pearls made into a ball gown. When I walk, the only clicks are magpies winking at my sparkle. Forgive me, winter, for my betrayal. My bones slander you after pickpocketing your signature blush. There is a forever summer where naked is my favorite wedding dress. Adornment ends at the widow's peak of a grandmother's unshakable vermilion. I can't stand the sight of my limpness, all this angel hair pasta, and I take a spoon to the salted water and drink my fill. The pasta which wears my nonna's apron tied around her middle like a rusty curse, for me to choke up spells from rolling pins and ladles my pelvis first mother will never taste. I envy the angle of my brother's back, sternum of sturgeon, ox to my mule. If I microwaved my right toe, I might find a shoe to make me dance longer than my braid could cane me. Yeah, one of those poems where like you're not even sure what you're writing, but it's like, that's kind of cool. I feel like we need more of that sometimes. Like, I don't know exactly what this is, but it feels like the embodiment of something I don't have names for yet. So yeah, that's some of the hard bits, and thank you for sticking with me through those. The next poem I'm going to read is content warning for sexual violence. So I for a long time was a sexual violence assault advocate and worker, and I still am like trying to situate myself, especially in the transformative justice movement as it comes to like non-carceral abolitionist movements. And this is kind of the feeling that I get when I find out someone else has hurt someone else. And how sometimes surprise is a hard thing to reach, but grief is definitely accessible. This is called Turtles Are Their Shells. Headlines keep happening, and I just wordless riot and megaphone the sound of my rolling in bed like a doom scroll. People with body rind under their nails are elected every day, and I have no husk to peek from. I know cracking and meat and marrow and sucked clean like a typography of my own hip and other round calcium. Turtles are their shells. A body is both a shield and home and a bunker. People ask every hour, how could X do such a thing? Imagine feeling safe in your own bones, enough to take what is offered, what you feel is already part of you, a destiny fused into a dome, an ovular room, an eggshell house. Undeserving is a smear campaign or a rallying cry, depending on how much padding the road offers when pancaked into a news moment. I just feel like the results came in and people forgot, and the next movie came out and people forgot, and the new season started and people forgot, and this poem started as a poem about a president. Take your pick. This was supposed to be about outrage and unbelievability, but I have no more gasps to button up a dress shirt. I only leave the carapace of my eye sockets when called by other hollowed out beings crossing an impossible tarmac. At this hour, I try not to be seen by any rubber that wants me, a chunky mosaic on the off ramp to breaking. Whew, yeah. You know, when you like return to a poem after a long time being away from it and you're like, I want the essence of this to remain, but you completely do it over. Yeah, that happens sometimes, and that poem feels tender for me in that specific way. I don't know how we're doing for time. I know that we said that we have endless amounts of time. Maybe I'll read. Take time. Okay, great. I'll read a couple more poems. So I don't know about y'all, but when you start scrolling on like whatever your explore page or whatever, Facebook is where I'm at most of the time, and specifically my explore page has no rules. So like if I get deep enough, I'll get to the section where it's like freshwater pearl harvesting. And it's like kind of to me, it feels more satisfying, honestly, than any of those like sand like chopping videos. But anyways, it makes me think about my own body. So this poem is called "They're Pushing the Pearls from Their Clams and I Can't Stop Wishing." I have gummed up legs, gifted by the god of small slaughters. I want to be sashimied from the waist down, sliced into iced roses with a side of whiskey. I am the inverse of rot. My body petrifies sinews of gum under desk. I grow stalactites where one should grow limbs. Inverted church spires is how I pay for my sin of ambition, daring to leach my clenched skeleton across the concrete when my hips splash in a tide of snappings. I roll my scapula and my vertebrae are a bag of freshwater pearls, a clattering skull of marbles in the foam of a riptide. In the video, they coo lacquered planets from their meat mothers. That's where my calcified grief lives. Ungorge me of this forever sleep. Partition my body like they did my father's country. Section what is pink and salvageable and give the rest to the lake. Even my blood is granular. It crackles a glass beach when I inhale. I beg for fats to melt the marbled milks between my stale doorways. Make me sticky from stone, a pliable isocyclic. If my pearled joints are seeds, who will step up to the harvest? Who will pull me from the river and shake out my precious stones? Yeah, today I was talking about my heat pad with my wife, and she's like, that heating pad is more of a wife to you than I am. And oof, that says so much about crip, disability, sex, and all of the space in those in-betweens of moving through a body that sometimes doesn't want you to have a body, I guess. So this next poem also feels important to me in regards to like my positionality as a social worker. So I'm at my MSW right now. And more we've been talking just about abolition and social work, and let's not pretend like social workers aren't cops. So this poem is about my time working in a group home, but specifically about what it's like to be a survivor working in a position of care. This poem is called Hard Boiled. His head is on my breast again, and I wonder how we got here. Story goes, a frog will jump from boiling water unless the temperature is raised slow, in which case the frog will swim until it's cooked. The story goes, his cheek drips down my sternum. Its simmer freezes every lake in me. The story goes, no is a sharp word. I want to be firm. wooden pillow, couch of brick, but I'm traffic light on perma-green. All of me hot tubbing at the roundabout of do your job and run and get off me and everything's fine. The biggest hazard to a youth in care is the staff, is me, doll mom with no bend in my arms. In this house where the only embrace is restraint, he asks me if I love him, and I say yes, with my body curled into a question mark. I'm unsure if compromise is natural or learned behavior, if I was born a room with no walls, or if most bodies are entered unannounced, if love is the natural compromise of most bodies, or if the compromise of most bodies is learned behavior. Most bodies that loved me entered unannounced. I mentioned love and the history of reaching hands cracks its knuckles. How do you plan an exit when you have every door carabinered to your belt loop? In my advanced counseling class, I learned that a lack of contact can starve the therapeutic process. I am the hand that feeds and is fed upon. Biting through a human finger is as easy as biting through a carrot. Crunch is the moose head on the mantle of my breaking. Ever been exoskeleton under the thumb of someone's need? Crunch gets all the screen time, but squish is where the body learns its new name. Every crack a hard-boiled egg submerged in ice water. There's no sound, just the shell sinking to the bottom of a stainless steel pond. Ever feel like an amphibian sitting in the soup of your own blue-faced regret, armless with pruning? Ever float face down in the pool just to see if someone would come running, peel you off the road like the unlucky animal you are? Oof, yeah. Again, a poem I returned to and found new juice in. So this is me telling you to go dig up your old poems that you're like, this will never see the light again, and give it some love and some sugar, please, and thank you. I'm gonna do one more poem. Right now, I've been trying to be more honest and less hiding behind my my playfulness with the overuse of, I don't want to say overuse, the maximalization of adjectives in my work. And this poem is called Author Romanticizes Their Blood Again and Has Nothing to Show for It. Here I go again, husking a caricature of myself. A great with no face to call me into the kitchen with. She wouldn't genogram my name if it kissed both her cheeks. I just teethe on mango pits and ask planes where they're going. I'll send you back to the motherland is Dad's favorite joke, not a threat, and maybe that's the problem. My father's birth certificate gives me claim to someday wander a country alone and not much else. I am owed a loneliness so shallow it drowns me in the brief speck of itself. I keep stretching into a border to speculate on being welcomed inside. A country is a border, is a burden I bear, not a single elephant's lash in weight. What? The times my white family have called me Packy? And even then, that's not my name to be shame proud of. I give nothing but the smear of a phenotype to a country that wouldn't turn its head when I call its name and wouldn't recognize me if I was a mango tree. I'm adjacent to adjacencies of adjacencies. I'm authentically from anywhere as my father's Russell Peters impression. My sweet friend Sanam, straight from the motherland, says, India doesn't care. You are her child. And my white mother digs her nails in my palm under the pew. I belong only to 2 Regal Road, apartment 214, and the broken wooden spoons in the knife drawer. I belong to the shape of my Nana saying, my darling, with a Union Jack milling her cheeks and the Ganga floundering in her backwash. I am reaching into a fog and only pulling out my own hand, doing the reaching. I'm collecting souvenirs and making poems so a question mark can understand the bridge of my nose and a kin face will know I'm not painted but still plastic. I have no more excuses to turn into artifice. Forgive me. Forgive me. Okay, and that's it. Wow, thank you all so much. I feel like I just did a sprint. I appreciate y'all working through these like very new and like not yet seen bits. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll have an actual book that I can.
I'm gonna buy it.
Amazing, amazing.
Thank you so much. Maybe by then we'll all be in person. Who's to say? Maybe by then I'll be 95 years old. But thank you all so much, folks at Berkeley Slam, all you organizers today and everyone watching. I'm like stoked to hear the rest of the work. All my love, all my love.
Wow.
Wow, give it up to our amazing teacher, Cassandra Myers. Wow.
Amazing.
Oof. Oh my gosh. The amount of times I was screaming in here, I hope my neighbors don't hear me, or I hope they do, and then think, that must be because Javi's watching the Berkeley Slam. Anyway, now it's time to start the slam. Ooh, everyone take a deep breath. That was some amazing poetry, I know. That was like a slam in itself where there was only one competitor and they were just winning the whole time. But we're gonna get into some other amazing poets as well. Our slam today, we're gonna have 3 phenomenal poets going in this order: Reggie, Mai, K, Nichelle, and Chardonnay. But before that happens, we have to have a sacrifice, a poet who's in it just as a palate cleanser for the judges. After you score this poet, judges, any poet after, if you like them more, score them higher. If you like them less, score them lower. Okay, amazing, great. Before we start, we also do this thing at the Berkeley Slam called the word of the day. We've been taking the word of the day from the actual word of the day from a dictionary. I'm gonna say Webster's dictionary. A dictionary, one of those big fancy
Webster is
online
correct.
dictionaries. Look at that. Ooh, does Javi know only one dictionary? Maybe. But the word of the day is itinerant. Itinerant. Like itinerary. Duh. Oh my gosh. Ooh, look at those 3rd grade skills of sounding words out really coming in clutch there. What does that word mean? I'm saying that word because I am not going to try to pronounce it again, but it means traveling from place to place, especially covering a circuit. Poets who use this will get an extra point in their score. Judges, you don't have to add that extra point. The scorekeeper will figure that out. And no, you cannot use this word in your title unless the title is fierce and amazing and actually has to do with your poem. Otherwise, just fit it somewhere. Figure out another way to say it. Just like, my grandma is like an itinerant person. Wow, that is a hard word to say. Good luck, poets. Anyway, our poets will be going in this order: Reggie, Mai, K, Nichelle, and Chardonnay. On deck, that means coming up next, we have Reggie, but coming up to the stage is our sacrifice for the first round. Give it up for Nicole Tracy.
Oh,
Woo! Yes, let's go.
Mic check.
Good.
Check the mic.
Yeah, new shit.
No shit.
Is it?
I tell you the story, and it is all a lie. I don't know how my parents met. I know they dated for some period of time before I existed, lived together, but I don't think I ever lived there too. When I say they are divorced, what I mean is they were never actually married, but the result is still the same. And now all of my poems are about one parent or the other, but never both. When I say my parents are divorced, I mean I once got 4 birthday cakes because they refused to speak. I saw movies twice because my mother tried to be the fun parent once. When I say my parents are divorced, what I mean is they did go to family court when I was 2, and I probably went with them. Apparently the hearing was over when my father said he refused to change a diaper. I mean, they went to family court again when I was 14 and 16 and 17, and I wasn't allowed to go any of these times, but dirty diapers was irrelevant, and this time, the focus was on my father's inability to commit, and not just to my mother, but also to paying child support. And 8 years later, he may be paid a total of $200 and will probably die before ever paying it off. When I say my parents really aren't together and my father pretends I don't exist, I mean it. I mean, the Department of Education almost revoked all of my financial aid for college because they thought I, at 19, was committing fraud. And I lied when I said that my father sent me $27 for child support in 1 year. When I say my parents are divorced, I mean, everyone on either side of my family has at least one divorce, so it's basically the same thing. I mean, I love my mother from 3,000 miles away. I tolerate her from 400 miles away, and any longer than 72 hours together, and we will have a very public screaming match. When I say my father exists, I mean, I assume he hasn't died, but I shouldn't really call him my father since he called me no longer part of the family. So I am no longer on the family phone plan too. So I don't think Craig ever grew up and learned to be a parent, but I do think he loved me from about 10 until 16. When I say I write about one parent or the other, I mean, both have emotionally scarred me in vastly different ways, and that's why I write about them.
Let's go. Come on.
Give it up for our sacrifice judges. Make sure to send your scores in to our scorekeeper, Tino. Send them in. Amazing, great, fierce. On deck, we have my Kay Michelle, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our first competing poet of the night, Reggie.
Yeah, gang.
Lit. Can y'all hear me?
No. Yeah. We can hear you.
Okay, hear you.
Brant Jean hugs Amber Geiger. I mean, any prayer in God's name is a muted hallelujah that cracks the ground into an open grave. I mean, the blackest amen has always been a funeral in reverse. The heartbeat is a seance. I love you. Goodbye. A black mother's last words to her son have always been a mortuary of salt. When I say my blackness is a prayer, I mean that everything I ask for goes unanswered. I mean, there is an emptiness to this kind of faith. I mean, I have watched my mother pray for my safety more than I have ever felt safe. All of our phone calls end with I love you and a silent amen. If goodbye is a wave of grief threatening to drown us all, then forgiveness is the black body's second rotting, cracks my bones into an open casket. A lineage of grief blooms from my throat until I apologize for my own murder, and I wonder, if the black body is so unworthy, why do white cups runneth over with our suffering? If the black spirit ain't God, why must they always ask us for forgiveness? Like this gives them permission to keep what they stole. Like my mother will be satisfied with the bouquet of roses they leave in my place. The first lesson every nigga has been taught was how to drown quietly. The second was how to absolve the ocean of the salt-lying guilt that fills the lungs, how to live and die halfway between your own vengeance and a white man's itinerant repentance. When my mother asks for me, there will be no mercy for the white man who twists my name into a blasphemous eulogy. When my mother asks for me, you better bring me to her safe. You better bring me to her alive. If my mother can save no one, my mother will forgive no one. No courtroom will hold my family and all of their grief. If there is magic here, it is only in the way that I can say my name without disappearing, without becoming a hashtag, or without my mother's tears watering the flowers they leave at the cemetery.
Give it up for Reggie. Judges.
Yes.
Please send in your scores. Judges, please send in your scores. Okay, as a reminder for those at home, you can always follow us at Bay Poets Unite. Subscribe to us on YouTube, where we post our amazing slams. We are also posting other slams, not just the Berkeley Slam, so you can see amazing poets. You can see your poem online and just see how well it is. If you miss the feature, you can watch it. It's an amazing thing to watch in, in the background. If you're like commuting, obviously don't like actually watch it. If you're like driving, just like listen to it. Let me clarify that. I'm not condoning driving and watching videos. Don't do that. But an amazing thing to just hear poetry throughout your workday or just your regular relaxation day. Okay. On deck, we have Chardonnay, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our next poet, My K. Michelle.
Yeah.
Mic check.
Mic check.
We can hear you.
Who am I? Who are you? Who are we collectively intertwined from the beginning of time? Our darkness is heard through the bold, rich tones of our feared skin. We stand as royalty, proclaiming prolific pride, passionately positioned. We march itinerantly. Black and tired, Black and strong, Black and pissed. America, goddamn. California beat our king, Georgia gunned our berry's pace, grown Ohio police played a 14-year-old child, Tamir Rice, and Tamir lost his life. And everyone knows about George Floyd, Minnesota, goddamn. Paid protectors, dirty cops destroyed pride and stole another Black man's life, positioned to pray, kneeling on his neck while he laid on the street. He called for his mother as he suffocated to death. Father, forgive them, but they do know what they do. So does that same forgiveness count for cold-blooded murderers too? Trump called for shooting for anyone looting, bigotry's jesting, colored nations ingesting of ever-flowing, embalming fluid, masking the groanings of Black lives mourning. America, goddamn. Maya Angelou proclaimed, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. The strength of our roots run deep, so deep we still dream to see the promised land our ancestors fought through the depths of hell to glance. We fight for the right to be treated as civilians, yet the fact that we still have to fight to be treated as civilians is completely uncivilized. But let's be clear. Uncivilized behavior will not lead to civil rights, just more civil wrongs. Although being uncivilized can be justified when hunted in your own land. No justice, no peace of mind when you need eyes in the back of your head, when toys and candy leave you dead, when you need bulletproof vests to lie in your bed, when driving leaves the possibility of being pumped with lead, when you need papers just to prove that you are free and that you are worthy to even breathe. America, goddamn. It is demeaning to have to prove that you have meaning, to demand respect after being disrespected, to know some still long to see strange fruit hanging from a tree, to explain equality to someone who is equal to me, to raise our hands to the heavens knowing that it might send us straight to heaven. The color of my skin should not be a death sentence. My children should be able to sing nursery rhymes, not cry hymns, tearfully screaming that they want to live. Planted by the waters, our roots are forever fed. They are fed through the fertilized soil from our ancestors' bones. Roots rip through the master's ground, whipping stones, forcing freedom. The resiliency of our stand eternally shows. The deeper the root, the stronger the fruit.
Give it up for My K. Michelle.
Gang.
Judges, please send your scores in. Judges, please send your scores in. Okay, on deck, we have our second round. We have figuring out who's going to win and who's going to win, and more amazing poetry. But before our second round, we have our final poet of the first round. Give it up for Chardonnay.
Yay! Woo!
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Chardonnay.
I do not see them in the Zoom.
Chardonnay. They might be under Colin's thing.
Okay, my breath control is not that great, but Chardonnay.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, the music is kind of loud, but I think it'll turn off. Yeah, here we go.
What is the belief if not a personal truth? I believe in myself because I am, believe in existing because we are, believe in dreams because I have lived them while waking. And yet belief can also be a knife. Believe me crazy for speaking on my site until you see what you saw me crazy for saying. The scientific method has never been trusted in the hands of spiritualists. How many predictions must be proved until these theories are seen as true or seen at all? Imagine being told you're on that weird shit for talking vibes and clearing chakras, only to be told years on years later that scientists have decided to validate aura's existence because a machine's sight holds more value than your ability to see. Every living and non-living thing has its own energy. We've always known this to be true, and the proof changes nothing, validates no other aspect of our wisdom, just gives them an excuse to try and abuse our gifts. Like the time old girl said doing divinations would send me to hell, but only until my gifts showed themselves as useful. So-and-so told me that you predicted what happened with their job, and I was just wondering if you could see if something was up with my man. The audacity is the only thing they keep consistent. My naivety allowed me to tell her that he wasn't shit, and she still ain't listen. How unfortunate for me, wasting gifts on unsustainable friendships with someone who risks going to their own hell over unreliable dick. I still share my dreams with those in them. I've learned to prefer the sound of my honesty, even if silence is the response. And no, I'm not waiting on their validation. I dismiss their doubt in this wisdom because I know it's true. Know the value of my dreams because I live them. Speak the truth I see because I saw it. Thank you.
Give it up for Chardonnay.
Yeah. Woo, woo, woo.
Judges, please send your scores in. Judges, please send your scores in. Okay, everyone take a deep breath. That was an amazing first round. We're going to jump right into our second round. Our poets will be going in reverse order. So it'll be going Chardonnay, then Mai K. Nichelle, then Reggie. But don't worry, we're going to have another sacrifice for this second round, another person to cleanse the palate, to start us off, you know, get that good energy in. Again, I want to remind everyone at home, if you like what you see and you want to support local artists and poets, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/richfolkevents. Follow us at Berkeley Slam on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Also, subscribe to Bay Post Night, where we post our slams so you can watch it later and, you know, support artists outside of just 9 o'clock at night, Western Pacific time. Anyway, on deck for our second round, we have Chardonnay, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our amazing sacrifice, Damani. Yeah.
Gang,
Go.
gang, gang, gang.
Gang.
Mic check.
Gang.
Defender of
We can
Oakland
hear
in
you.
the house.
New shit.
New
shit.
shit.
You ever seen a memorial made of empty liquor bottles? Glass altar, my heaven-bound memory. Resting point for spirits made of spirits. This liquor store currency, this grown-up juice, this discount elegy, this eco-friendly. The world is ending and we recycle grief. Turn birthday party favors into funeral arrangements. Addiction now a gift for the bargain shoppers in us. Coke bottle candle, Corona christening, Modelo morn, and on my 6th birthday, we emptied a 6-pack. When I wished, I blew into a bottle's mouth. And pay your dues or pay your respects. Pay for the party and the hospital bill after. Imagine a birthday cake. Vanilla, funfetti, Black Forest, imagine. Blowing out the candles and hearing back alley band. Makeshift orchestra for the almost rich. A sea conch sound, maybe, more like Viking horn blown before the war. On drugs like every other was an attack on us folk of spirit skin, us undiscovered artists, amateur alchemists, what magic? All heavens are made of spray paint and a black canvas. Whatever dead thing is buried, I promise you we will find them. What crime? Grave robbing? No. We just tuck memories behind the ears for later, or we let these tiny lighthouses call them home. Pardon us for being so in tune with the dead that we transcend the eye's vocabulary. Dissenter, tomb robber, etc. All Western terms made to snitch on Western terms, but where were we? Oh yes, when my niggas said abolish the funeral industrial complex, they meant it. Planted some rose seeds in the intersection. Caught Mike before he left, said take a flower before you go, and if they come for you, weave flowers in your hair. Lilies, orchids, carnations, funeral flowers. Play dead. And if there's anything the West knows how to do, it's call a thing an object instead of what they truly are. Beautiful.
Gang, 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 gang.
Give it up for Damani. Judges, please send in your scores. Judges, please send in your scores. I don't have to be unbiased for our sacrifices, but they were good. On deck, we have Mike and Shelba coming up to the stage. Give it up for our first poet of the second round, Chardonnay. Oh, I can do it all over. Yeah.
You can hear me, right?
Yep, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
The only female spiritual being is the manly woman. My mother, Oshun Iwuji, has two icons, one male and one female, but there is only one she. The two reside inside of me in her likeness. So when I say I am a woman, I mean I am her daughter, the river that will birth and bless as swiftly as it will destroy you. The machete used to kill and used to cultivate. Your actions choose which hand you will receive. This language tastes like poison on my tongue, denying me the words to tell you that I am woman, female, and daughter, always manly. You say woman meaning docile, meant to serve all but herself, subservient, less than. You say Black woman meaning mammy, meant to mule and pander and desperate for a man regardless of her ethnicity. Even when the woman is spoken of without hostility, you do not understand the flow of the river. My waters change more than they stay the same. The passion that goes into cooking with the ancestors is the reason I keep a machete on their altar. You cannot mute this intensity. My gender is creation. Paper meets pen. The words are the page and the ink, and neither of these things. Egg meets sperm. From the moment of conception, how quickly I've become more than I was. My parts becoming one. The man and the woman forever inside me, fluctuating until you cannot tell them apart. My womb can never be denied. Thank you.
Give it up for Chardonnay. Judges, please send in your scores. Judges, please send in your scores. On deck, we have the last poet of the night, Reggie, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our penultimate poet, second to last. Ooh, vocabulary words. Give it up for my K. Nichelle.
We can hear you.
Hey, let's go, poet.
The average heart will beat more than 2.5 billion pumps in a lifetime. That breaks down to approximately 100,000 pumps a day. And that may seem like a lot of pumps, but when you consider that each pump represents the very essence of life, you begin to count each one differently. So before I even begin thinking about opening up my heart to you, I need to allow my heart consultation time with my mind to discuss how many pumps to give. Did you know that the average person will take more than 675 billion breaths in a lifetime? That breaks down to approximately 23,000 breaths a day. And that may seem like a lot of breaths, but when you consider that each breath represents the very essence of life, you begin to count each breath differently. So before I speak, before I inhale to exhale what's hidden within my heart, hidden in the secret parts where you see the most intimate parts of me. Before I share a portion of my measured breaths, before I take my last breath, I need to allow my lungs consultation time with my heart to discuss how many breaths I need to give. Did you know that the average person lives approximately 80 years? That breaks down to 29,200 days, 700,800 hours, 42 billion, 48 million minutes, and a plethora of seconds. And that may seem like a lot of time, but when you consider that each second represents the very essence of life, you begin to spend your time differently. So before our first date, before I love to be in your presence, before we hold hands while walking on sandy shores, before I long for your touch, before I let you see me, before I let you be in me, before my breath pants for you, before my heart pumps for you, before I love you. Not before I fall in love with you, because when you fall, I always pray that you get up. But getting up reminds me of itinerant love walking away. And I want to be love for someone unconditionally for infinity. So before we begin, can we discuss our end? Allow our hearts, lungs, and minds consultation time with God to determine how many seconds of love to give.
Give it up for Mike and Michelle. Judges, please turn in your
Yes.
judges, please turn in your scores. Okay, we're reading the end of the night. On deck, we have figuring out who won. Spoiler alert, it's all of them. But before that, we have our last poet of the night. Give it up for Reggie.
Gang, gang, gang.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Cool. To the white man on the corner of College and Alcatraz who asked me what black means to me. Well, black be everything. Be the beginning and the end, the alpha and omega, be the earth that you sprang from. Black be the promised land, be my refuge, be safety and danger at the same damn time. Black be the same dirt you tried to bury me in, but twice as hard to break open, because black be struggle, be 400 years of resistance, be waiting in the water pointing slaves to freedom only for white folks to mistake it as a baptism song. Black be everything you want to be, but nothing you want to protect, be singing along to hip-hop music, but silent at my funeral. Black be funeral ready, always dressed for caskets, ready to die today and be resurrected as a hashtag 3 days later. So I guess that makes black Jesus, the Messiah, the only thing that can save you from yourself. Hell, black be the only thing that has saved you from me, be the reason that I allow you to still breathe, because black be culture, be music and art and dance and poetry, but always stolen and worn around like a Halloween costume because they scared of black. Don't know that black be scared of them, the way they cut it open, put it on display like it's not still breathing. Black be still breathing just because you don't want it to, because black be survival, be chameleon changing color to look more like predator instead of prey. Black be afro picking what's up my nigga just as quick as it be hair extensions. And yes sir, because black knows how to code switch, knows how to become something you never expected it to be. What I am trying to say is black be me, I be black, a living embodiment of my ancestors' dreams. I be revolution, a 6-foot tall body that carries the weight of the world on my shoulders because I refuse to collapse. I refuse to be another statistic, just another dead nigga crucified in these streets. They say my black be stupid. My black don't talk right. Don't know how to master language like they do, but I say my black be language. The only reason you can speak is because my black opened its mouth first, created day and night, and dared to give you words for it. They say my black be danger, be murder, be monster waiting in the shadows to choke the life out of everything. But I say my black be the only thing to soothe a burn left by white rope. My black be a surgeon removing bullet from his own flesh. My black be strong enough to fight back. My black be bold enough to raise hell for white folks just because it can. My black got all the time in the world for your black, but ain't got no time for no nonsense. It ain't got no time for no racism. It ain't got time for you to make itself more palatable for yet another white man. So excuse me if my answer was just a little bit too hard for you to swallow, but I'll be damned if I let this black become something I never wanted it to be.
Give it up for Reggie. Judges, send in your scores, please. Judges, get in those scores. Everyone take a deep breath. Amazing. Make sure you're drinking water, staying hydrated with, if it's not water, with something else. While our scorekeeper figures out who's first, second, and third, we're going to stall time by shouting out all the other Bay shows. That's right. You thought it was just the Berkeley Slam? No, because there's other days of the week. Think about it. If you're ever hunkering for some hunkering, whatever the word is, I don't know, I'm not white. If you're ever craving any poetry on Mondays, you can tune into the Santa Cruz Word Church Mondays on Instagram Live at Legendary Collective. Every first and third Saturday at the Allen Bluford Center, or you could go to the Instagram Live at Rich Oak Alchemy. You could go to and watch the Rich Oak Alchemy Slam. And the Oakland Slam is every third Tuesday at Lucas Tap Room. Instagram Live at Oakland Slam, or you could follow their Facebook at Oakland Poetry Slam. I know this is a lot, but you can go to Berkeley Slam's Facebook to find out. So yeah, if you're pretty much feeling poetry any day of the week, unless it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I guess. I don't know, maybe everyone needs a break. Thursday and Sunday, the Lord's Day. I don't know if Thursday is a religious day. Anyway, I have the scores. Okay, because we have 3 amazing poets going up tonight, everyone wins, but not everyone can get first place, or hopefully not everyone does get first place, because in that case, there's like tiebreakers and like people have to make poems on the spot, which is kind of entertaining, but also a little like secondhand embarrassing because it is stressful. I have been in that situation before. Luckily, there is no ties. Okay, in third place, drum roll, give it up for Chardonnay.
Yay! Gang.
I think they left the zone.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll just accept this award for Chardonnay. Oh my God, it's amazing! Y'all love me. Oh, never mind. They're here.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really all I have to say.
That shirt looks beautiful.
That's all
on
you have to say.
Amazing.
Congratulations.
Chardonnay was just like, I said my words. You heard the poetry already. I don't need to speak anymore. Okay, in second place, give it up for Reggie.
Yes. Woo! Yay!
That's my top.
Yeah. Thank y'all. It's been like, I just realized it's been hella long since I slammed. So thank y'all. I like to say everybody's writing tonight, from the feature to all the competitors to the sacrifices, was like amazing. If you would like to see more shit like this happen in the community, you should visit our link tree. We have a link to a GoFundMe to help support and fund these things. As you can see, we pay artists, we pay features, we pay organizers, and we don't charge a goddamn thing for you to enjoy all of the benefits of us paying artists to come into your living room and do poetry, which means we have a whole bunch of bills and no income. So you should help us out a little bit to make sure that we can have an equitable space, especially as a Black owned and Black run space, and a Black centric space, keeping these spaces open for specifically Black, Indigenous, people of color, women, queer folks, trans and non-binary folks. These are the communities that we serve. So, these are the communities that are without a voice. So donate so we can continue
Period.
a platform that will give these communities a voice. And if you have a whole bunch of money and you are looking for somewhere to donate it, hit us up. We would like to take that off your hands.
Give it up for Reggie.
Yeah.
Okay. Without further ado, our first place, the winner of tonight, winning $50. Give it up for my K Michelle.
Okay. Yes. Let's go.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Like, this is, my first time. I did like one other online slam, so this is my second one. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all are so awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I don't even know what to say. Just thank you. The other poets were amazing. Like, both of y'all are just awesome. So yeah, thank you so much.
Wow, amazing poetry tonight, everyone. Give it up for our amazing teacher, Cassandra Myers. Give it up for Reggie. Give it up for Charnay. Give it up for my K Michelle. Give it up for our amazing sacrifices. Give it up for yourself for watching and being a part of and feeling that amazing poetry. My name is Javi. I have been your host tonight. Go home if you're not home. Drink some water. Take your meds, eat some fruit, maybe, get some McDonald's late night. Who cares? Take care of yourself, mental health, whatever. That's all we have for you tonight. See you next week. Bye.